Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Saturday, which means it is time for more Psychopaths. So, in the last episode, we got a little bit more world building. I have no idea how much longer they're just gonna keep building up this world, because, you know, like, you only build a Jenga tower so high before, you know, gravity takes over. So, here's hoping that we kind of get going soon, because we're hitting the point where enough stuff can be inferred about this world that, like, yeah. No, you've, Gen, my boy, you've given us enough. We get it. We get it, Gen. But in the last episode, we had that whole thing with the guy in the factory, and basically how to abuse the psychopath system, you know, like, basically, so long as people are getting out their frustrations, you know, punching a pillow, or a man shaped like a pillow, you can keep your psychopaths pretty clear, at the expense of the pillow that you're punching. Why don't they just give people stress pillows? I just realized that. If visiting violence on things lowers your psychopaths, then why do they not have a futuristic equivalent of stress pillows? Like, why is that not a thing that exists? Like, I understand this is probably this is, from what everything I can tell, is a fascist technocracy, and in fascism, private business is allowed to exist solely as a puppet of the state, kind of like how China does it. Basically, you follow the rules, which is ironic because China started as a communist country, but because communism doesn't work, they start implementing more and more capitalist things, so technically they're fascists because, like, at least their economic system is. And even then, like, the difference is essentially economic in the first place. Sorry, I got distracted. Like, you'd think, like, even with someone, like, with private enterprise being essentially state-run, you would get someone coming out here with an idea to make robots, or, like, some sort of hyper-realistic pillow that was real enough that beating the shit out of it would not only be legal, but it would lower your psychopaths, you could sell them at an insane markup, and, like, there'd be no, like, negative things. This is what, you're gonna take a psychopath on a pillow? Like, I mean, unless I'm misunderstanding how that worked, but... Oh, wait, Sorry, I've completely gotten away from it, haven't I? Last episode, like, really introduced, like, an interesting idea about how this, and also let Kogami kick some ass. So, let's get going on this before I talk your ear off for another, like, 10 minutes, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, and go! Oh, boy, like, sorry, that just came to me, I'm like, wait a fucking minute. Wait a minute. Oh, and I said I'm trying to limit, that's my one F word this video, I promise. Ah, damn it, YouTube! Ah! I'm from Slough, for Christ's sake! The F word is punctuation! Wait, are we in a strip club? Are we in some sort of future hologram strip club? Is that what we're doing? Oh no, this is a stupid... There's a stupid fortune teller show, isn't it? Oh no. Like, what, are we in VR? Is this a dream? What's going on with this? Why is she so small? Like, why is the inspector so small? Like, are we in VR right now? She wants to bone the cool criminal boy. But she wants his crime dick. She wants his dick to cloud her psychopaths. And let me guess, this is like a flash forward kind of thing when I get to a point where Kogami, like, absolutely makes her feel like rubbish, right? Like, it's like, I don't know if I like him or not, no. Hooray for the Bechdel test. I say that, but I hate the Bechdel test because it's too simple. There's nuance that goes into things. Okay, so it was just VR then, alright. Why is it that anime VR, like, it just looks like a worse version of what we have now? Like, compare that to, like, an HTC Vive with Valve's knuckle controllers. Or, like, using the actual glove haptic things. Like, it just looks like a worse version. It's weird how, like, they get so close, but then they mess it up. Oh, jeez. So, yeah, so she wants his dick. But she doesn't know how she wants that dick. Oh, no. Oh, boy. I'll talk about the Bechdel test for a second. So, you guys know what the Bechdel test is, right? It's a test made up by feminists to kind of dictate whether a female character was good or not. And basically, it's like, hey, how much of this female character's screen time is spent talking about a boy? If it's like more than half of it is them speaking like a boy, or if they can't have a single conversation without have it being in context of a boy, then they fail, right? But what that seems to fail to realize is that a lot of male characters fail the reverse Bechdel test as well. There's so many male characters where, like, a woman is the main like idea, the main concept of what they're doing, of their entire plot arc. You know? Like, it's weird that, like, it's never thought about in the opposite way. It's almost as if humans are sexual beings, or not even sexual beings, just, like, our entire existence is based off of relationships, and heterosexual relationships tend to be the majority. Almost as if, like, it's an easy thing to make for a screenwriter to just have it based around a relationship. Like, not knocking it, but, like, it's a good vehicle to have drama happen. So, like, he seems to have a pretty, like, is this, like, is his house? Yeah, just a really cool, like, writing thing I've noticed, because I've got a creative writing class, and, Professor keeps going on and on about the Bechdel test. Because a lot of the characters I wind up writing are female. And all but one passes the Bechdel test. But... So he just doesn't shut up. Ooh, that'd be not good. That would be not good. So stop gazing into his abyss. Stop it. So was Kagami like a cop? Like, so the goofy one with the ginger hair. He was like a latent criminal from childhood, right? But Kagami and Robot Boy here, did they used to be cops? And then they just hit a psychopath point where they're like, well, no, you're a latent criminal now. You're going into an enforcer's. Like, how did they wind up being latent criminals? Well, at least they get days off. It seems like the latent criminals just kind of get, like... they kind of have it pretty decent, you know? They get days off, at least. I mean, their freedom is probably extremely limited, but judging on the society they live in, probably not much different from normal people. People without jobs? What? How did that happen? What now? I'll take that, please. Like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Yeah, almost as if the population is controlled. So he's dead then. Yeah, he's super dead. Yeah. Can't put a record on the scanner if your corpse is cold. Man, these rooms are... Man, without their hollows on... Oh, that's actually pretty neat. That's pretty neat, actually. Like, the houses, like, when you've got the holograms off, they look so drab. Like, so, like... I don't know, like, stark, I guess. I guess you just... I guess that's kind of like a concept. You're hiding how bland and controlled and samey everything is through holograms. Pretty neat. Hmm. Down to atoms! They atomite. So they cut his body up so much that it was just component atoms. Oh my god, that's rough. Oh my god, yeah, and he left a big cut in the floor too. It's almost as if the latent criminals are better cops than the cops. Oh no. Oh. Wait, wasn't she just talking to him? So that's a real recent death then. CG Cityscape, Ray. So someone stole his logins then to take his job? I mean, they know his logins, but wouldn't they recognize the voice? I mean, I imagine maybe you can do, like, a voice changer, but... I mean, that'd still be fairly obvious, unless they've got, like, a really big... I don't know. You need a lot of samples of him, at least. I guess if he's essentially a psychopath version of a YouTuber, I guess there's plenty of samples of his voice. I mean, it's a pretty... It's a pretty decent gimmick, you know? Stop people from thinking the guy's dead by continuing his internet presence, but I mean, if he's not in his house... Hmm... So sting, then. Just a good old-fashioned police sting. God, why do their avatars look... This is like VR chat, but if everybody who did VR chat was on meth. Like, why is he an American coin? Why is he a dime? Oh, so this is for people that shop a Hot Topic, then. Just entirely dedicated people who like Nightmare Before Christmas and shop a Hot Topic. The worst type of criminal! Like... for a fascist fascist dictatorship. Yeah, an anarchist. Yeah, anarchy is like the furthest to the right wing as you can get, and fascism is furthest to the left. By the way, I'm not using conservative and liberal. I'm using the traditional definition, which is different. Right is, I think I've said this before, but right is like less and less government to the point of anarchy at the extreme, and left is more and more to the point of fascism and communism. Or authoritarianism in general, I guess. I always feel like I have to, like, specify that. Because so many people equate it with, like, the political compass. Wait, what? Back up a minute. Okay, how is she famous and how do they know who she is? This is one of her friends from the last episode, isn't it? This is one of her friends, isn't it? But at the same time, if she's an anarchist, then wouldn't that flag Akane? I mean, anarchists would be... Like, anarchists would be immediately picked up to be controlled. I mean, that's how you run a dictatorship. Technocracy or not. So he's been dead for 2 months then. He's big dead. He is extremely large dead. So he started panicking because he was losing stake, he was losing relevancy. So he started losing his shit, much like Ninja did when Ninja started falling off Twitch because no one wants to see an idiot play Fortnite all day. And it led to him doing some shady shit that got him killed then. Is that how this went? Is this episode about the fall of the Twitch streamer? Assistance from an anarchist? Oh boy. Oh boy, yeah, no, that'll... Yeah, there is a catch to this. Like, this is how you get an anarchist owing you a favor. Oh, sorry, you owing an anarchist a favor in a fascist dictatorship. That's not good. That's not great. That's how you get flagged to go to a gulag. Seriously, like, this is... This, like, seriously, Spooky Boogie at some point... Like, she says that she's a friend. Like, she's a former friend of Akane. But, I mean, she's got no proof of that. This is something that, like, no, like... Essentially, this is secret police. This is essentially the secret police. So, like... Yeah, no, this would immediately flag Akane for pickup. Oh, no. But this is still really interesting, though. But, I mean, there are ways to lower your crime coefficient, though. I mean, I guess, actually, no, this is the Kogami did say this was an amateur murder, so he might not even know how to lower his crime coefficient. I feel like I'm just looking at a furry convention. Oh, hey, it's Shia LaBeouf. Like, I am like anonymity in this sort of culture, in this sort of like I imagine that this is more like the desire for anonymity and all that comes about because of overly controlling government. I think Kogami's missing the point. When the internet started becoming more and more regulated, that's where you start getting things like 4chan and all that to, oh Jesus, 4chan and all that to try and enforce anonymity. Like, as anonymity is being stripped away from the internet, there are more and more places that are trying to preserve it. Like, as regulation gets, like, I said, he completely misses the point. Is that our bad guy? Is that our big bad guy? Okay, why is there things to detect dominators? And this is, apparently this is a two-man job. Okay then, there's two people doing the murder. Why on earth is there technology to detect dominators? Or are they just hacking into the... Are they just hacking into the... Whatchamacallit? They're detecting the outgoing signal of Sybil. This is... For a technocratic fascist dictatorship, these... Like, there is a lot of really, really... Like, this is silly. Like, this is a little bit silly. Like, the ease by which this stuff gets hacked is ridiculous. You'd think there'd be some sort of, like, thing in here to... There'd be some sort of thing in it of, like, people, like, better encrypt or something, or at the very least, Sybil would... I don't know. I don't know, like, what I'm trying to get at. Basically, what I'm saying is, in a situation like this, why is it so easy for people to hack things? Ah, God. Like, it's hard to, like, talk about this stuff sometimes. Like, it's just amazing how easy it is to hack things, especially government equipment as well, like the Dominator. But, you know, like, how can you detect that? That's silly. He's gonna have her killed in real life, isn't he? Oh no, she's blocking him! Did you really need to draw it like that, though? Jesus. So you've got a bunch of people murdering popular... Was he literally reading 1984? He was reading 1984. Which, I mean... Basically what's going on here, because you've got Big Brother in the form of Sybil, but these guys are... I don't know whether I like or dislike that as a plot point. I don't know. Like, so they're anarchists. but they're also kind of hypocrites. Anyone who is not the right flavor of anarchist, or anyone that they perceive as having betrayed the cause, is murdered and replaced. Which is actually more something that you would actually see in a authoritarian regime. Like, happens... that's how it happens. Like, if you do not... in fact, I'm pretty sure that's probably how they would do it in the actual government here. Because in this sort of system, like I said before, like, all private enterprise has to report to the government, has to follow specific government regulations, including price controls, income controls, and basically you report directly to the government, even though you own a private business. Everything you do is regulated to the smallest part. Right? And if you disagree and you go and do your own thing, well, you either get made compliant, or you are going a very long vacation that nobody ever hears from you ever again, and most people will pretend that you never existed, because if they don't, they'll be disappeared as well. And then your position is taken over by someone who the government feels is more suited to it, usually a friend of the regime. That's how, that's just how it works. That's just how you do it. And to a lesser extent, that's what these guys are doing. Spooky Boogie, and I imagine Talisman. Like, so Talisman was losing popularity. He probably got desperate, and he maybe started taking sponsorships or something like that. I don't know. And so they thought, oh, well, that's not proper anarchism. All right, F you then. So they killed him, replaced him, acted like nothing was different. Right? Same thing they're doing with Spooky Boogie. Like, and these people were probably like sympathetic to the ideal, but they were doing about it their own way, because guess what? The main issue with anarchism, and why you never want the right wing to go too far, same as you don't want the left wing to go too far, you want moderation, is that neither system leads into itself. Because anarchy, if you've got too many people trying to do their own thing, it becomes a fustercluck. And eventually someone will decide that their version of anarchy is the best anarchy. And you know what usually follows anarchy every time it breaks out? Hardcore authoritarianism. Because in all the confusion, it's a perfect opening for someone who wants total control of everything to just roll in and just blitz everything down. Same thing with, if you go the opposite direction. If you have one regime that controls everything and starts oppressing everybody involved, eventually you will get a violent revolution, or at the very least the thing will just collapse under its own weight, and that leads directly to anarchism. Once you get into that ping pong, you're in there. Which is why most political science is about moderation between the two. Figuring out the best of both worlds. Same thing between going conservative and liberal, or going libertarian and authoritarian. By the way, liberal and conservative, two different things. I think I've said this before, but yeah, that's the thing in political science. I haven't got a major in political science or anything, but I've taken quite a few classes on it, and so I kind of sort of know what I'm talking about. There are nuances to it that I of course don't get, but I mean, there's also historical evidence and all that going on. So yeah, that's a really interesting thing, the fact that these guys are anarchists, but they're doing exactly what the government wants, making them hypocrites. Meanwhile, the government is a authoritarian, technocratic, fascist dictatorship, and yet they would accept the aid of an anarchist, someone who is extremely guilty of wrongthink, and someone who, deep down, goes completely against the concept at which the government is set up on. Showing that kind of both sides are kind of hypocrites there, and I hope that's what they're going for. I'm not reading too deeply into that, because I get the feeling with this, I'm going to have a really hard time not, marking out and throwing in or extrapolating political / historical references / ideas. So I'm hoping I'm not going too deep on that one, because otherwise I look like a big stupid, won't I? But yeah, I think we got the plot going here on this a little bit. I feel like this is our first two-parter episode, isn't it? Like we got an actual cliffhanger for a plot that goes forward, and I'm wondering where we're gonna go with this. I mean, these guys claim to be anarchists, and they're reading 1984, which was a deconstruction of like, hey, like this sort of government is a really bad idea because all conflicts are artificial, and there is no escape. So, I mean, honestly, one thing they could do, it would be extremely hacky to do so, but one idea they could do is they could just rip off the twist of 1984. So, spoilers for a book that came out in, like, the 60s, but in 1984, the main idea is that there is constant warfare between the three major supernations. But all three supernations are all controlled by the same group, essentially. And the wars are just to keep the people busy and enforce them to hate other people. Basically, like, give people a common enemy that they'll all hate, and they won't have the energy to hate the government. But there's also the idea of a revolution, of a rebellion. And that's another thing that's like an enemy. But the thing is, the rebellion does not exist. Anybody who meets up with the rebellion, who is convinced to read rebellion literature, no, like, all the rebellion agents are just planted INCSOC agents who are there to catch anybody who is guilty of wrongthink and disappear them. And that's the big twist at the end. And, oh boy. or disappear or re-educate them. One of the two. And it would be really hacky if they just did that. They did that here. Like, if these guys are actually being run by Sybil and used to kind of catch people in the wrong thing. It'd be kind of hacky because you're literally just doing, like, the default all-seeing eye dystopia thing. I mean, because literally, like, 1984 is the default. So many things have done it at this point that it's cliche. And so I'm hoping they don't do that, but so, like, more like I just want them to just hit a point where, like, I feel like the main thrust of this is going to be Akane slowly waking up to the fact that, yeah, the civilization she lives in is kind of shit, but, like, doing it in such a way that her psychopath doesn't get clouded, because, you know, like, she need, like, I highly doubt we're gonna get to a point where where Sybil fails and everything gets all taken care of, because that's not how this works. Like, Madoka was one where everything more or less wound up okay in the end, but you still have people being abused by the incubators to become magical girls. But the difference is now, instead of becoming witches when they fill up when their soul gem turns into a grief seed, they get whisked away to Maguka Heaven by Madoka Sayaka. Sayaka lost it. And is Mommy one of that? I don't know. Like, basically, like, a bunch, like, all the magical girls got, like, turned into, like, essentially angel equivalents, and it's weird. And then, of course, you have the unbreakable Akemi Homura just messing it all up at the end of the movie, and essentially resetting things to zero by turning herself into Satan. Like, they didn't say, like, with from what I see from, like, well, the one example of Gurabashi's work that I can remember off the top of my head, when you have a system like this, it doesn't get solved. It just gets modified to be slightly less terrible. It's still awful, but it's slightly less terrible by the end. So I don't know, maybe by the end of this, like, they find a way to kind of rework the psychopath system so it's less horrific. It will still be horrific, but maybe a little bit less. Who knows? Or maybe, like, you'll just end with Akane being put into a latent criminal thing as an enforcer because she basically succumbs to whatever's going on. And that is a tragedy. Who knows? Who knows how this all ends up? I don't know. But yeah. Good show! Like, I like where it's going with it. I like how it's actually kind of doing this correctly. And it is showing the innate hypocrisy of these sorts of extremes a little bit. At least I hope they're doing it on purpose, because if not, then I'm just reading too much into it, and that's a whoops. Yeah, let me know what you think down there in the comments, whether you agree with me, disagree with me, or you want to bring up something I left out, because while I don't think I have, I might have done. Because I think, like, just about everything else, I think I covered during the actual Let's Watch bit itself, so I don't really want to just be repeating myself, because I kind of went off some tangents there. Oh boy. Anyway, remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, share social media, tell your friends, and make sure you hit that share button down there. Share on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, whatever. Tell your friends, like, hey, here's some doofy asshole that, like, makes good points sometimes, and plays the video games, and does the animes. Oh, man. Ah. And, if you want more stuff, then hey, we got at the end of this thing, we'll have one of the animes I'm watching right now. Don't exactly remember which one is there. I think it's Zombie, I think, the Zombieland Saga. Or if you want some Let's Play stuff, there should be, like, God of War or Devil May Cry at the end of that. I'm really liking them. I think I'm liking God of War a little bit more than Devil May Cry, but I think it's more just because, like, it's history. And as you can tell, I really like marking out over historical stuff. And that's just good. And it's just good right there. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. You can support me on Patreon if you want. Link down in the description. I've got an open Discord server anyone can join. All in the description. And as always, I am Nozz, and I'll see you in the next video. But most importantly of all, become a trash mammal today. And I will see you around.